Tembi Nkosi, hello to you. Can you explain to me how we are losing 14.4 billion rand? It's a massive amount of money.
Yes, good afternoon, and thanks for having us. Indeed, South Africa and many countries in the region are losing a lot of money through illicit trade in precious metals, including gold, diamond, and others. It seems that one of the key drivers of this is the fact that many countries in the region, including South Africa, are still not moving towards a full-scale regulation and licensing of artisanal and small-scale mining, as it were. So what is happening at the current moment is that a lot of former miners who lost their jobs, obviously because of the up and downs in the gold mining industry, they found a way to go back to those old and disused mines and mine some gold from those deposits, which then finds its way into the illicit trade markets in the region, in Mozambique and Eswatini, and then it finds its way to countries such as Dubai, Karachi, and Mumbai in India and others.
What does it say, Tembi Nkosi, about the question I posed during my intro to you? What does it say about our law enforcement agencies? This isn't something that is happening on an ad hoc basis. It's an industrial-size crime that we're dealing with, aren't we?
Well, I think our law enforcement is quite very weak, as it were. One might just tend to say it's almost absent. At the bare minimum, what we're missing is this sort of interagency collaboration, to the extent that what the Hawks is doing, the Department of Mineral Resources does not know what they are doing. SARS would not know what the Department of Mineral Resources is doing, and also municipal level officials who are supposed to, in terms of SPLUMA, be regulating mining activity in their vicinity, within their jurisdiction. They find that the law doesn't give them powers to regulate what happens when it comes to minerals. Whilst DMR is the one who is charged with that mandate. Because of the lack of interagency cooperation, it then becomes very difficult to enforce. You find that each government department has got a competence in a particular area, and these kind of organized syndicates, they use these loopholes in the law enforcement framework in order to try to say, well, if this agency is not taking to the other, we take advantage of the gap. Yeah. And that's how the industry tends to thrive. I mean, there's a lot of places in South Africa where there's industrial scale mining, even for bulk commodities such as coal, where you find that those people do not have water use licenses, they do not have mining licenses. They just go on and put in their plant and start mining. When enforcement officers come, they run away and hide in the bushes for some time, and then they come back to continue their operations.
So it's the interagency cooperation where it's falling over, Tembi Nkosi. But when I mentioned the figure of 14.4 billion rand a year, I would have imagined at this point government would be a lot angrier and a lot more willing to get on top of this and do whatever it takes to try and A, stop the criminality, but B, stop nearly 15 billion rand a year of natural resources leaving the country.
Yes, unfortunately, we are starting on the back foot because of state capture and the other problems that we've had. A lot of the departments that were dealing with these sophisticated crimes were decimated during the period of the previous administration led by Mr. J.G. Zuma. Now we need to certainly start to bring together and rebuild those units and bring back those skills. Some of those skills have been lost to South Africa, to other lucrative jurisdictions, which means we still need to retrain new people that are going to come in and they start to build that capacity to understand these very sophisticated crimes and start to plug the holes where they are happening. Indeed, South Africa needs to be angry, especially the economy is on a downturn. We know that our debt levels are escalating, they are becoming uncontrollable, so we need to be able to plug the gap as soon as possible to try to to bring some more sanity into the fiscus.
Thembi Nkosi, perhaps a last question to you, if you don't mind. I don't imagine South Africa is unique in having its mineral resources stripped away and essentially stolen. What other countries are you able to tell me, perhaps as part of research that you've looked at, that has had the issue but that has been successful in being able to get on top of the problem and actually put a stop to it? Are there any good examples you have for us?
Well, unfortunately, at the current moment, it's at the scale where governments have not come up to realize that they have that kind of problem. So even the researches that are being done now by other small research outfits, mostly based overseas, are just focusing on particular case studies, and they are not looking at the problem from the national scale, if you like. So that even the figures that we are using now, from my point of view, they are gross underestimates, you know, because even this study is talking about just gold. But there is a lot that is going on out there. There is a lot of losses in terms of the precious metals. And South Africa is one of the countries where we do think that we have the better sort of capacity and institutional frameworks to try to control this. So one can imagine, therefore, most of the countries in the region with almost zero capacity, these people are just doing their thing on a daily basis without anyone to control the stage.
Thembi Nkosi Dlamini, thank you very much indeed for your wonderful insight, and all the very best to you for the rest of 2019. A happy new year to you, no doubt. So we'll continue talking about that. Very worrying. 14.4 billion rand a year is being lost due to illicit gold mining here in South Africa, as we can clearly hear from the senior extractives lead at Oxfam. That was Thembi Nkosi Dlamini saying it is our law enforcement agencies that are simply dropping the ball on this.